This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
I'm coming out of my head. I wanna know that you want me. Can you kiss me? They say we came from stardust, a mix of chaos and bliss. I wanna feel like I'm something. Can you hear me breathing? And if everything means nothing, and only you and me are something, but we could be a miracle. Yeah, we could be a miracle. But we could be a miracle.
Following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, that is so true. Even on a Thursday, it does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today it's Thursday, February the 19th of 2026. And we are still broadcasting from our Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big.
Oh, yes, Radio Big, not to be confused with Big Radio. For some reason, people want to call it that. I never understand that. I think there's some other stations that are called that. So anyways, how you been? How's the last 24 been? Hopefully it's been some grandioso time, no doubt about that. You know, I kind of live in the interesting world where things can change on a dime because of children. That's just kind of the way that it goes. So it's always a fun time, not knowing what the next iteration of stuff will bring your way. So not a big deal there, but stuff to always talk about. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what our show consists of. If you're new here, our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of how we go about talking about everything that's going on inside of the way of the multiverse. We give you a little bit of these stories, a little bit of that stories, and then kind of go through the whole plethora of stuff, if I may, and then we kind of come back and give you the main story and get you the hell out of here. And if you've been here before, well, I appreciate you coming back. As you know, it is a clusterfuck of everything that we do. Let's not lie. And the reason that I say that is because we do a radio show that goes to a podcast network, then essentially goes into some kind of video format. So that's kind of how we do it. That is kind of how we go through the plethora of stuff. It is the radio show first that we end up putting into a podcast that would then essentially we end up putting into video, and they're kind of all squashed together as we do it. So hour number one is the only one that's on the video and on the podcast. As the radio show, it is a 3-hour show. First hour is on Safety FM and Radio Big, and then hour 2 and 3 go exclusively to RadioBig.fm. So that's it. That's kind of the whole kit and caboodle. So if you're good with talking a little bit about what the hell's going on, I do have some friends here that are hanging out from Feature Story News. They would love to tell you what's going on. But before we get there, if you want to interact with the show, here's the options. You go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, text messaging are the options of the stuff that is going on. And then that's it. I see a prompt on the screen. then I know what to do. I know how to handle the next move. Outside of that, it's pretty close to the chest and stuff that we talk about. Some people like that we talk about news stories. Some people hate that we talk about news stories. Some people are not even sure why news stories consist of what we got going on. And then we give you the stuff that's related to safety, mostly the main story. Now, where people get kind of hung up, or at least they've told me, is why is there so much news? Because I look at it from this standpoint. It has to be topical if you're going to be in a meeting with someone. If you start talking about safety stuff, immediately you're going to lose them. At least that's my concept of how we do stuff around here. So if you're good with this, I'm good with this. I will bring up my friends from Feature Story News, and they can tell you exactly what is going on inside of this multiverse of ours, because that just seems to be where we're at currently.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Paris, I'm Ross Cullen. US President Donald Trump will convene the inaugural meeting of his Board of Peace on Thursday. The White House says board members are pledging thousands of personnel and more than $5 billion. But concerns linger over the new organisation, which has no Palestinian representatives at the top levels, and major Western allies are sitting out. Kate Fisher reports from Washington.
There would be at least 20 countries represented. We understand there will include Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Hungary and Belarus. And we understand that each country's representative will be given around 2 minutes to speak, but that many countries are not actually sending their leaders, but rather lower officials like foreign ministers or so on, which, of course, adds to the challenges about how effective this Board of Peace can actually be.
The former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has been jailed for life over his botched attempt in 2024 at imposing military rule. A South Korean court on Thursday found him guilty of leading an insurrection and making him the first elected head of state in the country's democratic era to receive the maximum custodial sentence. Israel is said to believe that a US decision on possible military action in Iran will come soon. Local media in Israel are reporting that officials believe the likelihood of a US strike on Iran has increased despite recent talks between Tehran and Washington. FSN's Blake Sifton is in Tel Aviv.
Israeli media are reporting that officials here believe the likelihood of a US strike on Iran has increased, and President Trump's decision on what action to take could come soon. This comes amid reports that US military preparations for any strike are almost ready. CBS News says the military will be ready for strikes on Iran as early as Saturday, and the New York Times report a second aircraft carrier group headed to the region will be in place off Israel's coast by early next week.
India is hosting one of the largest artificial intelligence summits in the capital, New Delhi. Some of the biggest names in AI are attending, including Google's Sundar Pichai and OpenAI's Sam Altman. New Delhi says it wants to shape the future of AI, not just for advanced economies, but also as a voice for the global south. Here's Neha Punia.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the last few days has spoken about how AI is at a civilizational inflection point, essentially saying that, we've seen rapid development of this technology, a lot of it happening in the West, but the use of this tech is going to happen at scale in countries like India. Also, of course, signaling to, these huge tech companies that have come to this summit, displaying their tech, announcing millions of dollars worth of investment in a country like India, telling them that India wants to work with them.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, what's going on in talks between the US and Iran after President Donald Trump threatened to launch military strikes against the government in Tehran, but then didn't. The Iranians claim good progress has been made in Geneva, where the two sides are discussing the nuclear issue. The Iranians say a set of guiding principles has been agreed, but Edmund Fitton-Brown, senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, is not so sure.
Well, first of all, this is the Iranian side of it. The American take on it so far has been rather less committal. The Iranians are very keen to say that there's a process underway because, of course, if they can delay US military action, they think that they may be able to prevent it altogether. The talks will have been quite difficult. First of all, they were in direct talks. There's still no direct contact between the two sides. There's no trust between the two sides. And from the US point of view, they've made a number of demands of Iran, and in as much as the Iranians have responded, they have refused to all of those demands. So what the Iranians hope is that they can limit this discussion to a long-running negotiation over their nuclear program.
On Tuesday, Iran partially closed the Straits of Hormuz, a critical transit route for oil tankers, in an apparent show of force. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And the top stories once more. US President Donald Trump will convene the inaugural meeting of his so-called Board of Peace on Thursday, despite major Western allies refusing to join. The former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has been jailed for life over his botched attempt in 2024 at imposing military rule. And India is hosting one of the world's biggest artificial intelligence summits. That's the latest feature story news. Ross Cullen reporting in Paris.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns, and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in. and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Okay, here we are. You know what didn't go off? This didn't go off.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
I went through and I was like, wow, that doesn't sound like it normally does. Sorry about that. Anyways, 15 minutes past the top of the hour, and we still got a lot of stuff to talk about, so don't worry. We're going to get to it all. Okay, so with that being said, you are aware that there are all kinds of weird things going on in the world right now. I mean, it's just kind of how it goes. Let's not lie. So where would you like to start today? I have so many weird things to talk about that I'm even questioning myself in regards of, should we go here or should we go there, or should we just go into some really strange stuff, or do we take serious business right away? I don't know. So, I look at this and I go, let's start off with something that you would not expect out of here. Here are 10 signs you're doing well in life. You ready for this? You have a roof over your head. You ate today. You have a good heart. You have a clean water. Someone cares about you. You strive to be better. You have clean clothes. You have a dream, and you're breathing. Somebody sent that in. What do you think? Is that a good sign to you that you're doing well in life? I think it's a pretty good list. I'm not going to say that it's not. That's for sure. So let's go into some other stuff, because I think that that's what we do around here. No doubt about this one. The investigation to Nancy Gunther's disappearance just took another twist, and now detectives are zeroing in on a possible clue hiding in plain sight. Nanos says investigators are reviewing a doorbell camera footage that shows a mysterious man outside of Nancy's Tucson home shortly before she vanished. And it's getting how did they word it? Because I want to make sure that we say this correctly. The details are getting fresh scrutiny. What looks like a pinky ring worn underneath the black gloves. Nanos admitted that he sees it too, and says that his team is analyzing the image to determine whether it's real or just a piece of jewelry, I guess, an inflatable piece of jewelry, really, or just a trick of the light. So there you go. What do you think here? I mean, how is that term go? No stone left unturned, is how they say it. So I guess that's what we're going with here. So there you go. Okay, so let's talk about some other stuff.
Sit down.
If you haven't heard this one, President Trump is weighing in whether the U.S. should follow countries like Australia and France in restricting social media access for minors. According to reports, the president has been hearing bipartisan concerns about the impact of social media on kids and is now taking a closer look at possible limits. While he's long positioned himself as anti-regulation, especially when it comes to tech companies and censorship, that's an issue that appears to have his attention. So what do you think here? I know there's a conversation that occurs from time to time inside of my household that in Australia, kids can't be on YouTube. I just don't know what that age is considered for kids in particular. So maybe that's the other question to think about when it's all said and done, opposed to all this other stuff that we have going on. So there you go. Some things to give some gander-anders at when it's all said and done. So what do you think here? I don't know. It's an interesting one. So do you want to hear this one? This one got pretty interesting. Conservative podcast heavyweight Tucker Carlson says that his trip to Israel's got tense fast. Carlson flew to Tel Aviv for an interview with President Trump's ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. After the two sparred online over Israel's treatment of Christians, Huckabee publicly challenged Carlson to come hash it out face to face, and Carlson took him up on it. After the interview, Carlson claims that the airport security confiscated his passport and pulled his executive producer into a side room for questioning about what was discussed. He described the encounter as bizarre and said that they were later allowed to leave the country. Before that, Carlson posted a photo outside of the airport with a cheerful greeting from Israel. Critics mocked him for saying only a few hours and not touring the country. Former U.S. Ambassador David Friedman called it a missed opportunity. So there you go. What do you think? I'm just asking the question here because, man, it gets interesting when it's all said and done. What do we got here? I think we got some other stuff to talk about. Should we stay on this little topic for a moment related to kids and things related to social media? So let's just do that because I think that this is going to be better to talk about for just a brief moment. Mark Zuckerberg spent hours in Los Angeles courtroom defending Meta in a landmark trial accusing Instagram and YouTube of hooking kids like digital slot machines. Lawyers flashed old emails where Zuckerberg talked about boosting time spent by 12%. He said those weren't marching orders, just hopes and dreams. He insisted the company later shifted from screen time goal to value. Another internet messaging claiming that teens were the top priority. Zuckerberg said under 13 users, and I'm talking about 13-year-olds, users aren't allowed, though some lie about their age. Plaintiff's attorneys Mark Lanier fired back, basically asking whether a 9-year-old is really reading the fine print. The lawsuit comes now that a 20-year-old woman who says that she started using Instagram at the age of 9 and that is fueled with anxiety, body image issues, self-harm, and suicidal thoughts. This is the first major case in more than 1,000 similar suits. Instagram chief Adam Mosseri called it problematic use, not addiction. Stanford psychiatrist Dr. Anna Limbrick disagreed, saying that autoplay, a notification and endless scrolls, or should we call it doom scrolling, can absolutely wire a teenager's brain like a Vegas buffet for dopamine. So there you go. Steinpent wasn't a directive. It was a vibe. Meta says that focus on value, and apparently value is measured in hours. Nothing says not addictive like endless scroll. Digital casinos, at least Vegas gives you a free drink, and we don't design for addiction, says the company with notifications that panic you at 2 a.m. So what do you think? Some stuff interesting there for sure.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
So let's just be realistic as we're talking, because I don't want there to be any confusion, because this show that you're currently listening to or hanging out on, we do stream it on Facebook. So I can't sit here and be like, now, don't do that. I mean, it's kind of a weird one. I mean, we'll see how everything goes, because that's going to be an interesting one. And that will be to see what happens. Because, listen, I would imagine that there has to be some addictive tendencies to some of these things. I mean, one cannot say otherwise. Or you kind of look at it and go, well, am I telling the truth to myself, or am I straight up lying? Because maybe that's the other thing to look at. Okay, so like I told you in the past, we talk a little bit about everything on this show.
And there is no doubt about that.
So researchers at University of Maryland outfitted healthy adults with smart underwear for a week. Yes, I did say smart underwear for a week to measure how often they pass gas. The results, an average of 32 times a day. Some people barely squeaked out 4. Others were pushing 5 dozen. Overachievers, of course. The device didn't track sound or smell, just hydrogen levels, which are produced by gut microbes doing their thing. In a follow-up test, participants switched from low-fiber diets to fiber supplements, and the sensors detected a spike in hydrogen. Lead researcher Brantley Hall says that the team is now building human Flatos Atlas, mapping everything from low gas clean eaters to chronic room cleaners. The goal is to better understand gut health and eventually improve treatment for digestive system. Fitbit just said, we're staying in our lane, because that's definitely where you want to be there. Finally, data that you can really feel. And somewhere Kale is feeling very proud of itself. Imagine syncing that to your phone. You hit today's gas goal. That would be a thing. And forget step counts. That's your puff count right over there. Think about that.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Seriously, what is this show becoming? What is this show becoming? Okay, so let's talk about a couple of different things here, if you do not mind, because I think it's going to be important. Researchers at a case in Western Reserve University found surprisingly the physical way to tackle one of cancer treatment's biggest problems. Solid tumors built a stiff protein wall that keeps drug and immune cells out. Scientists injected microscopic gas bubbles into breast tumors in mice and then used ultrasounds to make those bubbles collapse. The tiny implosion shattered the tumor protective barrier, softening it to a third of the original stiffness. Once the wall came down, 6 times more cancer-fighting T cells flooded in, and drug delivery inside those cells tripled. The technique doesn't rely on any one specific medication, meaning that it could potentially boost many existing cancer therapies. Important note, though, this is done on mice, not humans, for right now, as they are testing it. Turns out the best way to fight cancer might be bubble wrap. Who knew that cancer's kryptonite might be fizzy grenades? And it looks like bubble popping, but with a PhD. Forget smart drugs. Sometimes it's just need louder ones. Ultrasound, not just for baby pictures anymore. When life gives you tumors, and add bubbles. Science just weaponized spa day technology. So there you go. Some things to talk about as we are going. So there you go. Okay. So let me get you set up here. What day is it today? Today's the 19th. We're going to talk about the 28th. Yes, the 28th of February. We're going to talk about this for a moment. Chick-fil-A is handing out free chicken biscuits during breakfast hours through February 28th. No purchase required. The members of its Chick-fil-A One Rewards, the giveaway, which started Tuesday as part of the company's year-long nostalgia campaign, celebrating 80 years since 1946's beginnings. The chain is leaning into the throwback and fan favorites of all year, mixing classic menu items with a new twist of retro packaging. The feature freebie is the original Chick-fil-A biscuit, a hand-bread boneless chicken breast, and freshly baked buttermilk biscuit, first introduced back in 1986. The same year that the company opened the first standalone restaurants. To score one, rewards members just claimed the app or online during the breakfast hours, opening to 10:30, while supplies last. Limits 1 per account. Now, is that limits per 1 per account per day, or is that 1 limit per account total? I mean, I don't know. I never know any of this. I'm always just trying to factor in what the hell is going on in regards to some of the stuff that is going on inside of the world of the multiverse. That's just kind of how I look at the stuff. So there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Okay. So what else do we got? Or do we go back to serious, or do we kind of say semi-serious? I don't know. It's just one of those weird things. So let's see. Vatican. Let's talk about Vatican. The Vatican just RSVP thanks, but no thanks. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Holy See's top diplomat, said on Tuesday that the Vatican will not join President Trump's proposed Board of Peace, which is scheduled to hold its first meeting in Washington this week. The president initially pitched to the board as a body to oversee Gaza's interim governance, broaden the idea into a global conflict resolution panel. Parlin made it clear that Vatican hesitation isn't personal, it's structural. He said that the crisis management on the international stage should primarily run through the United Nations, and that's a principle that the Vatican has consistently backed. More than 20 countries are reportedly on board, including some Middle Eastern allies of Washington. But several major Western players are tapping the brakes. Mexico has declined outright. Italy and the European Union are expected to attend the Washington meeting only as observers, not as full participants. Think about that for a moment. I'm going to come over to your house. I'm going to interact with you, but just kind of. I'm just going to observe mostly. I'll watch as the other people interact with you. Isn't that essentially what you're saying? I don't know. I am just asking the question. Okay, take a listen to this one as well, because this might be a little bit interesting for you, if I may. U.S. brokers of peace talks are aimed at ending the war, and the Ukraine fizzled out fast, wrapping in under 2 hours yesterday with no breakthrough and no smiles for the cameras. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky only pushed back, saying it's not fair that President Trump is applying more pressure to us than to Moscow. Trump has warned earlier this week that Ukraine better come to the table fast. Zelensky shot back that peace won't last if victory is simply handed to Russia, adding that he hopes that the pressure campaign is just negotiation tactics and not settled policy. Russia's delegation, led by Vladimir, Medinsky, it's a different person, so I just want to make sure that we know this, described the talks as difficult but businesslike. Well, what else would you do? What did you think it was going to be like? Hugging little babies, shaking hands? I don't know. It's kind of a weird comment to make. What do you think here? No, seriously, what do you think? It's kind of a weird one overall. Yeah, it was like shaking hands with people. Well, no shit. What else did you think that was going to happen? It's business as usual. I didn't think that they were going to walk in there and be like, hey, we're entirely out. We're done. Oh, I'm sorry. What's the terminology? We did the art of the deal. No, seriously, I don't know. It's kind of a weird one as it's going on. Okay, what else do we got here? Do we have anything else before our main story? Maybe it's time just to do that. Maybe we should just go into our main story, but take a listen to this.
911, what's your emergency?
Hello. I'm listening to this radio show, and I think I'm addicted to it. I think I need help.
Great. Another one of these calls. Get a girlfriend.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, some main story time, and it's always time to do that around that 32-minute mark, or at least
as close as we can get.
So, all right, let's get into our main story, and I want to talk about something that drives me absolutely insane, but we pretend it's a virtue. And I want to talk about that term called professionalism. Now, hang on. I'm not talking about showing up on time and doing your job. I'm talking about professionalism as a weapon. I'm talking about how you use the concept of being professional to silence the people who are actually trying to save lives. You've seen this happen. I know you have. Picture the scene here. You're a high-stakes environment, a construction site, a turnaround, a busy ER, a manufacturing floor during a peak season, and the pressure is on. The system is redlining. You know what I'm talking about? The redlining. And something goes wrong. A technician says, let's call him Mike, sees the hazards that everyone else missed, or maybe he sees a hazard that management has been ignoring for, let's say, 3 weeks. And Mike snaps. He gets on the radio. He talks about it into the trailer, and he loses it. He's loud. He's sweating, and maybe he drops a few F-bombs. And he says, "This is bullshit. We are going to kill someone if we don't stop doing this right now." Now, in a sane world, in a world that actually cared about signal, we would give Mike a medal. We would say, "Thank you, Mike, for waking us up, and thank you for caring enough to get angry." But we don't live in a sane world. We live in that corporate simulation. So what happens to Mike? He gets pulled into HR. He gets a lecture about his tone. He gets told that his delivery was counterproductive. Oh, let me try that one more time.
His delivery was counterproductive.
And he gets written up for unprofessional conduct. Meanwhile, the hazard he was talking about, it gets put on a punch list. It gets discussed in a calm, professional manner by people wearing clean shirts who have never touched a wrench in their lives. And here's the rated R reality. We're prioritizing comfort of the listener over the content of the warning. We have decided that it is better to be polite than dead and dead than rude and alive. And this is the mutation of safety culture. We have a confused safety with gentrification. We want our safety meetings to be look like as a TED Talk. We want our feedback to fit into a nice, neat little drop menu on an app. But real safety, real risk, it's ugly, it's messy, and it sure as shit definitely gets emotional. When you are standing next to a machine that can rip your arm off, or you're driving a truck down the 405 and the brakes feel soft, you don't have time to draft a polite email. You have a psychological reaction. Your heart rate spikes, your voice changes. That is the human signal. And when we punish people for having human reactions to a dangerous system, we are teaching them a very specific lesson.
Duh.
We are teaching them, I don't care if you see risk. I only care if you can tell me about it without raising your blood pressure. And you know what happens next? You know exactly what happens. Mike stops screaming. He goes back to work. He sees the next hazard, but this time he thinks about it, and he thinks about the write-up. He thinks about the HR meeting. He thinks about, man, it's not worth the hassle. And he stays quiet. Or maybe he puts it in a polite work order that gets ignored for 6 months. And the silence returns. The meetings go back to being professional. The managers feel good because nobody is yelling. And then the accident happens. And in the investigation, everyone asks, why didn't anyone say anything? They did. You just didn't like how they said it. This is a tone policing. It is the most effective way to kill safety culture while pretending you're managing it. And just to be clear, I am saying safety culture, even though you and I both already know that safety is not its separate culture. Safety is part of your culture. But for some people out there, we have to say safety culture just to make sure that they understand what we're talking about. So it happens in boardrooms too. I've seen safety directors try to tell the CEO that the budget cuts are going to cause catastrophic issues. But they're told, soften the language, to be a partner, not to be an alarmist. So they change the slide. They turn from catastrophic risk into operational opportunities. And they turn, we are going to kill someone, into optimization challenges. It sounds professional. It sounds smart. And it definitely sounds aligned. And the other fun part, it's also a lie. We are actively filtering the signal until it is so smooth, so polished, so professional that it loses all of its urgency. Think about the Titanic. Imagine if the guy in the crow's nest saw the iceberg and thought, I shouldn't yell. Yelling is unprofessional. I should draft a memo to the captain requesting a meeting to discuss the visibility. And we would call that insanity. But we do this every single day in our organizations. We value the construct of professionalism more than the reality of risk. So here's the challenge for you today. No, seriously, here's the challenge for you today.
Duh.
The next time someone comes to you and they are hot and they are angry and they are loud and they are cursing and they're shaking, don't correct their tone. Listen to their signal. Ask yourself, why is this person this upset? Because passion looks like anger to people who don't care. If someone is screaming, it's usually because they've been whispering for months and nobody listens. Stop tone policing the people who are trying to save the ship. Stop firing the people who care enough to get loud. Because I will tell you, the silence that follows, that's the sound of the culture that has given up. And that is a hell of a lot more dangerous than a few F-bombs. I'm being serious as I say this. And I want you to think about this today. Is a catastrophic event less value than someone saying the F word?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
You ever hit the wall, burnout, stressed, or just feeling that everything is piling up and thought, yeah, I probably need to talk to someone? The problem is finding the therapist who actually takes your insurance feels impossible at times. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes mental health care easy to access and actually affordable. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, so the average copay is about $15 a session, sometimes even less. With Rula, you get matched with the right therapist for you, not just whoever's available. Their network has over 15,000 licensed professionals, and you can book an appointment as soon as tomorrow. No wait list, no frustrations, just therapy that works with your schedule and your insurance. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that actually covered by insurance. Visit Rula.com/safetyfm to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you there. That's RULA.com/safetyfm. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. Go to Rula.com/safetyfm right now to get started. That's RULA.com/safetyfm, because you deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, PhD. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety transmission. The Collapse of the Construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, PhD. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
This
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
How do you smell like a sunset? I mean, I would like to understand that a little bit better if you don't mind. Anyways, 45 minutes past the top of the hour as you are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. We are getting to do all the fun stuff that we get to do, no doubt about that. This right here, song's titled Miracle by Cabrio. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. So some options for you, of course. Oh, if we can live a miracle. So there you go. I would say go ahead and give it a little streamer-eamer action if you don't mind. We would like to thank Cabrio for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show, no doubt about that. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So there you go. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now. And things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you'll see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com to write love on her arms. Listen, go to the website. It can change everything for you. You never know what might end up occurring when it's all said and done. Anyways, let's talk about it one more time. That event that's coming up in Santa Fe, New Mexico, March the 31st through April the 1st. It's Conklin Workshop going on right there. You'll have the opportunity to come out to Santa Fe and hang out with the likes of Todd Conklin, Redonda Voigt, Brett Sutton, and Ann Liren talking about an event that took place to Redonda Voigt, and we'll talk about how you can look at it through the lens of human and organizational performance using some tools developed by Brett Sutton, and then kind of looking at some of the stuff that happened directly as we are looking at this particular case overall. I'm going to tell you it'll be a good time. All you have to do is scan the QR code that's on the screen, or you can go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says Live Events. Once you get there, it can change everything for you, no doubt about that. So take a look and see what exactly is going on. That's going on March the 31st through April the 1st. And I believe that the room block that's available closes at the end of next week, but don't hold me 100% to that wording. I believe it closes at the end of the month. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. And then in another twist of events, we've been asking you to save the date. Save the date for our reality shift event that's taking place in Orlando, Florida, July the 13th of 2026. A one-day in-person experience. Yeah, we will have more detail for you about that here in the very, 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 very near future, talking about exactly what's going on at that event. So the reality shift event, July the 13th, 2026, Orlando, Florida, a one-day in-person event. I'm going to tell you that one's going to be definitely a good time. It will definitely be a different style than probably what you're accustomed to when it's all said and done. But we'll get into that a little bit more as we are closer and closer to the event itself. So there you go. Anyways, we are so close on doing this that we probably need to go ahead and give him a little ringer-dinger up. And let's go ahead and bring in some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about what the hell is going on with the Motivation Minute.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Daniel. Elon Musk said, "If something is important enough, even if the odds are against you, you should still do it." I agree. I've done this so many times in my life, I can't even count them all. I remember walking into a newspaper saying, "Hey, I want to be a photographer." And I showed them some of my work. The manager asked, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm 15. He goes, "Well, come back when you're 16. I stopped in a few times between then and my birthday. And then when I turned 16, I was hired as a photographer, and I helped run the darkroom. Similarly, a few years later, I walked into a radio station with no experience. I was still in high school. I asked, "Hey, do you guys need any DJs or whatever?" I started working there a few days later. The odds have always been against me, but I've never really cared about the odds. I've just asked a question, and sometimes they said yes. The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
On the Rated R Safety Show.
Rescue crews in the Sierra Nevada are pushing through fierce winds and whiteout snow as they search for missing skiers after a powerful avalanche near Lake Tahoe on Tuesday.
Authorities say a group of about 15 backcountry skiers was caught on the remote slopes near Castle Peak, and at least 9 people remain unaccounted for. Helicopters, dog teams, and ground crews are working in blizzard conditions with gusts near 40 miles per hour. Liam White reporting.
U.S., Russian, and Ukrainian officials wrapped up another tense round of talks this week, with negotiators reporting progress but no breakthrough.
Diplomats met in Geneva as part of a series of meetings aimed at reducing frontline tensions and outlining steps toward a possible ceasefire. A U.S. special envoy said the sides agreed on guiding principles for further negotiations and plan to keep talking in the coming days. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Germany's president is in the Middle East this week, meeting with Jordan's King Abdullah.
President Frank-Walter Steinmeier's visit includes talks on regional security, the war in Gaza, and the strain from ongoing refugee flows. Jordan plays a key role as a US-aligned monarchy, bordering several conflict zones and hosting large numbers of displaced people. Both leaders used the meeting to reaffirm cooperation on humanitarian aid. Benjamin Wright, reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is set to take the stand in a closely watched social media addiction trial.
The case centers on a young woman who says years of heavy use as a child left her struggling with anxiety, depression, and compulsive scrolling. Lawyers argue Meta and YouTube built features to keep users engaged while downplaying known risks to teens. The trial could shape how tech companies handle algorithms. Kyle Norris reporting.
In Washington, lawmakers are turning up the heat on Jeffrey Epstein's one-time inner circle.
Wexner, the retail magnate and former Epstein ally, appeared before a House committee to say he was duped by a world-class con man. Lawmakers questioned him on financial ties, property transfers, and what he knew about alleged abuse at Epstein's estates. Jessica Oakley reporting.
A tense security scare on Capitol Hill ended with one man in custody after police say he ran toward the complex in a tactical vest and shotgun.
U.S. Capitol Police said officers confronted the suspect outside the grounds and quickly detained him without shots fired. Investigators reported no additional suspects and said there is no ongoing threat to lawmakers or staff. The incident prompted brief lockdown precautions in the area. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Okay, so there you go. 54 minutes past the top of the hour. We get to start talking right now about some things that happened back on this date, and this is how it goes. Going back to 1974. Yes, I did say 1974. The first American Music Awards. That happened back on this date. Also 1977, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, the album, is finally released. In 1985, can and bottled cherry Coke is introduced by Coca-Cola. And in 1987, smoking ads air, anti-smoking ads air for the first time on TV. So there you go. That happened in 1987. If you're looking at some celebrity birthdays going on for today, Smokey Robinson turns 86. Jeff Daniels turns 71. Roger Goodell turned 67. Seal the singer turned 63. Let's see. Justine Bateman turned 60. And Haley Duff, not Hillary, Haley Duff turns 41. So there you go. That's some birthdays going on today. So there you go. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know. Less than a month after hosting the Lombardi Trophy, the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks are for sale. The team confirmed as much in an announcement yesterday. The estate of Paul G. Allen today announced that it has commenced a formal sale process for the Seattle Seahawks NFL franchise, consistent with Allen's directive to eventually sell his sports holding and direct all estate proceeds to philanthropy. And a statement reads, Allen, co-founder of the Microsoft Corporation, purchased the Seahawks in 1997 for $194 million. Allen died in 2018 at the age of 65, and team ownership was transferred to Allen's estates, managed by his sister, Jody. So there you go. Also, in some other news, as we are talking, Moderna mRNA 1010 flu vaccine for the older adults could be made available by the end of 2026. The pharmaceutical company just announced officials at the Food and Drug Administration have agreed to undertake a review of Moderna's seasonal influenza vaccine. Moderna, the FDA officials recently met to discuss the vaccine review with the goal date of August 5th. Pending FDA approval, we look forward to making the flu vaccine available later this year so that America's seniors have access to new options and protect themselves against the flu. Moderna's Chief Executive Officer Stephanie Bancel said, so there you go. Also, Tesla Incorporated is hitting the brakes on one word in California, and that's autopilot. The California Department of Motor Vehicles says that Tesla will stop using the term in marketing its vehicles, and it stated that after the judge ruled back in December that the wording was deceptive, the concern that autopilot suggests the car can drive itself, which regulators argue overstates that what the system actually does. The judge even recommended suspending Tesla sales and manufacturing in California. Instead, the DMV gave the company 60 days to clean up the marketing language so Tesla can still sell cars in the Golden State. It just can't sell them sounding like that they are ready to fly themselves. So there you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world there. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm for the next couple hours or so. So if you want to come and hang out with me, you're more than welcome on doing so. If you don't want to go over there, that's perfectly fine. You can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. No, seriously, that's what he will do. So that's it. If I can't leave you with some words of wisdom for today, I would love to leave you this. When everything feels important, nothing moves. Clear your mind for a moment and watch what happens, because that could change everything for you. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
Sunset, I wanna cry like the sea.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author Jay Allen, PhD. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.